The next second, something unexpected happens. A lump of stuff falls right out of his shorts onto the slide.
Today we're going to be checking out weird movie and show recaps.
Jack accidentally discovered that everyone around him seemed to be gay. In their world,
Okay.
girls had become an endangered species. Jack simply bought breakfast with a classmate and was misunderstood as hitting on someone else's boyfriend. Jack was afraid he would also become gay, so he bought many gay comics to study how homosexuality begins.
He was afraid to turn gay, so he bought a bunch of gay books. He might just be gay.
First, you must never touch someone's shoulder on the street. Jack managed to do this, but the person walking behind him wasn't so lucky. A thug grabbed the passerby by the collar. It looked like a fight was about to break out.
They're about to
Jack
kiss.
didn't step in to help because he knew that the two of them would soon fall in love. The passerby apologized awkwardly. His cute appearance instantly made the thug's heart flutter.
What
At
is
school,
happening,
this student
bro?
almost fell down and immediately captured another classmate's attention. When their eyes met, love sparked between them. Finally, school was over. Just as Jack was about to let his guard down, a classmate invited him to a dinner party.
You know what
Dinner
that
parties
means,
were
Jack.
even more dangerous.
Exactly.
If he didn't go, he would seem antisocial. This
But
would
if you
make
did
him
go-
an easier target for men. If he went, it would be even harder. Talking too much would make him the cheerful, sunny guy type. Talking too little meant he'd have to drink more. But Jack was satisfied with his performance. After all, out of the 5 people at the party,
What happened?
when they gathered again for the second time, he was the only one still single because they had been drinking. Everyone had to stay
Where are the
overnight
girls
at a classmate's
at then,
house.
though, if
Unexpectedly,
they're-
one couple confessed their feelings that night. This kept
If they're
Jack worried
extinct.
all night. He could only turn over and pretend to sleep.
What do you think was gonna happen? Name of the show: A Man Who Defies the World of BL. Dog, what are these creators thinking when they make this, bro? These are supposed to be like skit level ideas. They're not supposed to be TV show, movie level. Like we just doing anything with the camera, with cameras nowadays, bro.
Turns out being invisible is such a terrifying experience.
I'd imagine.
The experimenters first poured glue next to the man and then spread it evenly on his face.
How did you get
Then
caught being
They
invisible?
used a fan to dry the glue quickly. When the glue set, they cut a hole with a knife.
Oh, they're trying to
After
make
that,
him look
They added a
human.
pair of glasses. They originally thought John could only hold out for a few days at most, but
What are
they
they
didn't
doing
expect
to
him
him?
to be stuck in the lab. As time went by, John got more and more irritable.
I would be
Finally,
too.
One day, he escaped. When John got home, he saw his neighbor changing clothes at home. However, at the crucial moment, the woman pulled up the curtain. John looked at himself in the mirror and suddenly realized he had the ability to be invisible. This meant he could do whatever he wanted.
You mean he
So
never
just
thought
after
about the
woman
idea in the
finished
first
taking a
place?
shower,
I'm not saying he should execute on it, but I just feel like it took him very long to even think of that idea. I thought we were past that point of degeneracy. You know, I thought he got caught doing something weird. I don't know.
there was a knock on the door. The woman walked to the door but found there was nothing outside. She thought it might be her imagination, but unexpectedly the doorbell rang again. The next second,
He's gonna
the
open
woman
it,
was a bit confused.
he about
and
to
then walked
just
to the door and
burst in
opened
there.
it. But the corridor was empty. However, just then, John sneaked into the woman's house without making a sound.
I see why they kept John in there, bro. John can't be trusted. And with him being invisible means he's naked. And with him being naked means he was running in there with a brick too. I would never trust that man.
The guy poured $1,000,000 booze into the pool, then got in it. After that, he sprinkled a
Why?
circle of salt, licked the salt, and took a sip of the booze.
Oh.
He could live such a luxurious life because he was the
He's drinking his own ball sweat. Oh.
last man on
He's
Earth.
the last
he shot
man.
the supermarket door open and took whatever he wanted without paying. For fun,
Oh,
he
that's
drove a
so
fancy car to play
boring.
bowling. This carefree life lasted almost a year. Now he's almost a bum. The mansion
Almost
turned
a
into
bum.
dump,
There's
and the pool
nothing-
became a septic tank.
There's
He
no
was so
one there.
lonely.
Like, what's
he remembered a female
Wait. He used the whatchamacallit, the diving board to make a toilet. Why?
model he'd seen before. So he smashed the window and went
I
in to
know
chat
he's
with
not
her.
about to.
But in his clumsiness, he accidentally broke her arm. At that moment, he felt hopeless. He sprayed his epitaph on a boulder and was going to crash his car to end his life. But at the last second, he slammed on the brakes.
For
there was
what?
a wisp of smoke rising in the distance, which meant there was someone else alive.
Oh.
He rushed over there and sure
Why
enough,
don't you
he
just be
found
like
signs
a
of life.
animal? Why is the bra the?
Just then, a woman's voice came from behind. When he heard it, he got so excited that he passed out.
He's so deprived from women that he heard a voice in the. Yo, I'd be terrified if I was her, bro. Imagine you just got out your bath, you going to get your clothes, and it's just some old hairy man just sniffing your bra, going, ugh, ugh. I would uphold.
Jack found a strange pencil. As
Okay.
long as he drew something on paper, the exact same thing would appear in real life.
Yo, why are these recaps so thirsty, bro. Who said, hey, this is a great idea? And then they did all of this. Go on, Jack. What do you got for us?
A few minutes ago, he casually drew an apple. After a while, there was suddenly a noise from the closet. He opened the door and saw an apple. It was exactly the same as the one he drew. Jack was super excited when he saw
Next
this.
thing I'm drawing, a banana. Money's good too. Like, that's not a ballot shout. You know, maybe I should have drew money and then it would be a
drew a $100 bill. He opened the closet again, and the bill was there too. At this point, he completely believed in the magic of this pencil. He started drawing money one after another. Every time he opened the closet, the things he drew would appear inside. He got more and more excited, and a crazy idea flashed through his mind.
All that
he wondered if he could also draw a girlfriend. So he
should be like a mannequin
sat down
or something.
And started to carefully draw a girl. He was so focused that he was completely immersed in the drawing.
What about
Just
the head?
then, there was a knock on the door. He put down the unfinished drawing and got up to
That's
open
what's
the door.
gonna spawn.
There was no one outside. He turned around and there was another noise from the closet. The door in front of him slowly opened by itself.
No, come on,
Then
you
a
gotta
hand
show me.
reached out
You
from
gotta show
inside.
me.
But the problem
It's
was
just
he hadn't finished the drawing yet. What on earth was coming out of the closet?
No, the recap ends right there. Oh my goodness. Honestly, this could be like, what I'm doing is like low-key enticing myself into wanting to watch some of these shows or movies. This might be better than like the actual long recaps, because the long recaps, you pretty much go through the whole movie. Yeah, there's a lot of important details that are probably skipped over, but you still see the ending. This is like, they're teasing you. They're sprinkling it.
The spider spirit spat out a stream of spider silk and tried to launch a sneak attack on the man. The man reacted very quickly and immediately took out a pair of chopsticks
did he make
and started
clothes?
waving them. This scene stunned the spider spirit
This
for a moment.
is...
What surprised her even more
Made
was
me
that the man
uncomfortable
actually
looking.
used her spider silk to weave
It
a
made
delicate
baby
little sweater.
clothes.
He gently
Aw.
flicked the sweater, and in an instant, it turned into a huge net that firmly trapped the spider
That doesn't make any sense.
spirit. Just then, the fox spirit suddenly showed up. She waved the folding fan in her hand and fanned out a pungent smell of body odor. He immediately stuffed a handful of garlic into his mouth and endured the smell and started chewing hard. It turned out that he planned to fight the body odor with the smell of garlic. The two smells clashed fiercely in the air. For a moment, the whole battlefield stank to high heaven. To gain an advantage, the man simply fanned the air himself to increase the output. In the end, the fox spirit couldn't stand it and was directly fainted on the ground.
Whoever they are, they just got money to blow. Like, that lady really got up there and just started fanning armpit. Like you just blow him. Like, I'm trying to... I can't. I'm trying and I can't. I'm trying to put words together, but I'm too mind blown and too stuck in shock. There is just so many different forms of entertainment out there, bro.
The woman suddenly disappeared into thin air, and even her clothes began
Okay.
to slowly fade away. Then her boyfriend embraced her and swaggered into the bank. It turned out that the girl had learned the art of invisibility. She was planning to rob the bank. Once inside, she stood off.
So why did he have to pretend like he was... No, why did he have to have his arm around her? Like, that just looked silly. It looked like a waste of time. It's like you wanted to just look crazy.
The side and secretly watched the combination to the vault, planning to come back at night and quietly take the money
It's an
inside.
easy lick.
Her family
How is
also
this about to
possessed
fail?
different superpowers. Her mother could
Oh.
fly, even though she weighed over 300 pounds.
That is not a 300-pound woman, bro. She is not pushing 300 pounds.
She could easily take off into the air. Her father had the ability to
Now,
teleport.
he could
to
be
travel.
300.
All he needed to do was let out a fart. Her younger sister was incredibly strong, able to bend metal pipes with her bare hands, and her brother could talk to animals. Her boyfriend's fingers could spray water, which made him a great tool for water.
Her boyfriend might have the wackest ability of all time. He's not even using water gun. He's using water squirts. If I saw all these cool abilities around me and I figured I could just shoot a little bit of water out my index, the only thing I'm gonna do is just use that water as a personal bidet, and that's it, and I'll just be mad for the rest of my life.
Watering plants. However, there was one catch. The family had to stay together every day, or their superpowers would disappear. They were waiting for the woman outside the bank when just then, their car was forcibly driven away, forcing them to leave the area.
What?
Meanwhile, the woman inside the bank was exposed the next moment.
Oh, she got hoed so badly. Guys, pay attention. If the boyfriend has powers too, doesn't that mean... First off, learn how to spell, bro. Really? Two? But does that mean her boyfriend's her brother? Because they said only her family has powers. Or does random people have powers and the family specifically only has their powers when they're together, but other people has the potential to have powers outside the family? We're just gonna assume that her boyfriend's her brother. Makes for a better plot.
A guy is sliding down the slide. Suddenly, he feels a tightness in his belly. He tries hard to cover it with his hands, but it's too late. The next second, something unexpected happens. A lump of stuff falls right out of his shorts onto the slide. He immediately shouts at his friend, trying to warn him to watch out, but his friend can't hear him at all. He has no idea that danger is approaching. When his friend turns around, he sees a dark and dirty thing sliding down the slide. At first, he thinks it's chocolate. Then the stinky smell hits him, and he's scared out of his wits. Even worse, the lump breaks into several pieces and slides towards him quickly. He panics and props his hands on both sides like crazy, trying to speed up and get off the slide.
There's no way the guy didn't feel it was coming beforehand.
He yells at the people in front to get out of the way. Finally, he rushes out of the slide. His girlfriend is so happy to see him safe that she jumps up and down. The guy thinks he's gotten away with it, but when he turns around, his face is covered in poop. His girlfriend steps back right away. As the brown mess spreads in the water, all the people around run away in disgust.
All that was disgusting. Creator of that, you need to relax, bro. Every single piece of that was so completely unnecessary.
A curious girl sticks her finger into a machine that predicts how you'll die. A second later, the machine spits out a card. On it, it simply says, "Old age." Overjoyed, she practically leaps with happiness.
What if she just starts like
she
aging
rushes
fast?
Off to share the good news with her best friend.
She get hit by a car.
But just as she takes her first step,
you know, sometimes you just feel what's about to happen, and I felt that, and it felt good.
It turns out old age meant she'd be hit by a car driven by an elderly person. The next day, a random guy decides to give it a shot too. His result? Parachute failure.
Someone's gonna land on him?
Skydiving. He mutters. He turns to his buddy for help making sense of it, but just then,
or is it gonna blow?
Strikes. He gets killed by a falling parachute. Then a young guy tries the machine, but when he sees the card, he's completely stunned.
A hot girl's gonna cut his dingling off
immediately.
Okay, hot girl. A girl on fire comes and jumps on him. Girl with a fever gives him a fever. Okay, what other way could we take this? Girl just fell in lava, got put into a catapult and slung into his head.
On high alert, even when a bikini-clad beauty asks him to help apply sunscreen, he turns her down flat, too scared to take the risk. But just as he gets up to distance himself from her, out of nowhere, a girl who's completely on fire crashes into him.
There we go. I was right. One of my guesses were right. So basically when you check you're gonna die, that makes sense because all of them are dying dang near immediately. Well, the parachute guy wasn't immediate. This guy wasn't immediate. First girl was immediate though. She got hoed.
She first aligned her foot with the shoe, then made a mark with one slice of knife. Next, she pressed the blade tightly along the marked line. Finally, she smashed it with a stick and cut off her toe, because only then could she fit into the shoe and have a chance to compete with her stepsister to marry the prince. But to win the prince's heart, she decided to change her.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and you know what's crazy? I could believe that happening too. I could believe it happening, but why did they have to show us? We did not need to. Oh my.
So her mother took her to the hospital. The doctor used large pliers to remove her braces and stitched fake eyelashes onto her eyelids. Then the doctor picked up a hammer and started working on her nose. With a scream, the bloody scene shocked her sister nearby, but the mother smiled with satisfaction, because she believed this was the only chance for the family to rise. After the surgery, she was fitted with a nose cast, and her mother immediately sent her to a dance school, because to marry the prince, her figure had to be perfect. But on the very first day, she was pushed to the back row by the teacher for her looks, while her beautiful stepsister was arranged in the front row. This instantly hurt her self-esteem.
Bro,
but to marry the prince, she had to go through a series of training. What she didn't expect was, when the audition
this is the 1500s, so 16, you're already middle age or something?
Was announced, she was surprisingly selected, but later during training, she found out that her mother had bribed the teacher. Her confidence collapsed again. To comfort her, the mother handed her a small metal box.
What does that do?
Eating what's inside would help her lose weight. What she didn't
probably
expect
poisoned her.
Inside was a tapeworm egg.
No, that movie's crazy. I know some people listen to that, they were like, oh nah, this is heat. You gotta check it out. I'm not checking it out. It sounds great. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds great. I'm good.
A man makes a dead woman drink his white cream. She comes to life. He applies the cream on a girl's burnt face. It gets cured. A girl did not have a hand. He applies cream on that girl.
And
her hand gets cured. That cream can fix anything being ugly.
Cream by David
Making old people young,
isn't he a
healing any
YouTuber?
kind of fractures and broken bones. Even that cream works not only on humans,
What
but
type
also
of
on
cream?
objects. People were using the cream to sharpen their minds and cure mental illness. A new problem arises that the raw material needed to make the cream will be exhausted in 6 months. To eliminate this problem, they launched Cream 2.0.
And what happened with 2.0?
New self-replicating properties. Now there was an infinite supply of cream. People were now planting trees by pouring cream on the desert and by pouring cream into
What's the moral of the story?
Making it drinkable. The cream can potentially end world hunger due to this. The value of money had fallen completely. Now
That's
higher
fair.
class comes and says no to the cream.
So basically they're saying, hey, we need to stay on top. We need to stay rich. So even if this thing can help everybody, we can't allow that to happen because we need to keep our bread. Okay, that's the moral of the story. The rich will always be greedy. But we're all asking the same question. Where did that cream come from?
This man got plastic surgery to make his head look like a Rubik's Cube.
Why?
While waiting for his train, he decided to shuffle his head just for fun. But now, with only 10 minutes left, he had to solve it before the train arrived.
What is
As he twisted and turned, people started staring. The pressure was on. Then, just as the train pulled in, a girl made fun of him for being fat. That was it. He locked in, determined to prove her wrong.
So everyone's just ignoring the prove her wrong?
But then
twisting your head doesn't change you less fat.
A sussy-looking juice next to him. Without thinking,
is
he
this
chugged
a
it, and
ad?
suddenly, everything clicked. His hands moved faster, solving the cube piece by piece. With just seconds left, he turned to the girl, gave her a creepy stare, and boom, the final move. He solved it. It only took him 2 hours, and the train had already left. Was it worth it?
No. I don't think that was... I just got my time wasted. That did nothing for me. All it did was confuse me. Took him 2 hours to solve a 2x3 cube. Well, he's not a genius, I can tell you that much.
A famous actress died
Go ahead, say whatever you're gonna say, bro.
unexpectedly. Jack, the morgue attendant, stared at her flawless face. He couldn't help but take a few photos for himself and sent them to his closest friends. To his surprise, they showed up at the hospital that very night. They begged Jack to let them see Anna in person.
They pulled
At
up
first,
so they could
Jack
see the...
refused, but under pressure, he finally gave in.
Oh,
Together,
Jack.
they entered the morgue. The sterile air, cold walls, and dim lights immediately gave
Slip.
Jack second thoughts. But curiosity won. Jack pulled back the sheet, revealing
This all just lets me know, bro, like, stay away from Jax, bro. Like, what?
Anna's was just still and perfect, as if she were only asleep. One of his friends leaned closer. Their fascination quickly turned unsettling. Jack insisted they leave, but Mike, the quiet one, pulled him aside. Clearly, he wasn't ready to walk away. A few minutes later,
Jack.
Mike returned to the room. Grinning,
What?
Jack, impatient, rushed in next. He leaned in, close.
He
and that's
rushed
when
in-
Anna's eyes suddenly opened. Jack frownsy and
What
horror.
is
He screamed,
happening?
stumbling back.
Why?
bringing the others running. Anna was alive,
Why?
barely breathing, unable to speak,
Why?
but conscious. Tears welled in her eyes.
Who's making the stories, bro? There has to be a better way to convey whatever message you're trying to spread.
To test her boyfriend's loyalty, Anna decided to follow her best friend's advice and lock herself in a sealed room. The room was fitted with one-way glass. Those inside could see the outside clearly, but outsiders couldn't see in. Anna recorded a farewell video for her boyfriend and carefully
Why?
observed his reaction. Little did she expect that when her boyfriend entered the room, he'd fall into the trap her friend had set. Returning home to find Anna's breakup video, he was overcome with anguish, nearly choking on his grief. Hidden inside the room, Anna watched this scene with glee, yet witnessing her boyfriend's despair.
Why would you? This is stupid. But what's the twist?
Regret began to creep in. She fumbled for the key to leave, but
And
no
then she
matter
got
how
stuck.
she
She
tried,
got
the
stuck.
door wouldn't open.
Yep.
The key only worked from the outside. Panic seized Anna. She grabbed her phone to call for help, only to discover no signal in the sealed room.
Wait, did her
Desperately
friend
pounding
hold
on
her?
the glass, her screams, and
Her
unheard
friend hold
outside.
her.
In utter despair, Anna hurled several bottles of cosmetics at the glass, but the glass
So
remained
she's
unbreakable.
just watching
Not
his
even a
life?
scratch. Instead, Anna's hands
That's
were
kinda-
instantly
that's
slashed.
crazy.
Anna hadn't yet
Wait,
realized
how is she
the
gonna
true
eat?
catastrophe that would destroy her had only just begun. That day, in the sealed room, she discovered a box of moldy instant noodles. Fighting nausea, she wiped away the mildew. Her first meal, she clung to the belief she would escape. For her best friend Lisa knew she was trapped inside. As
And
soon
didn't
as
do
Lisa
anything.
arrived, she would surely rescue her.
And then
Lisa
she
did
slept
come,
with-
but she didn't rescue Anna. It turned out she'd always envied Anna's life. If Anna died, she could take her place as the orchestra's lead violinist. Even Anna's boyfriend would be hers.
Lead violinist. That's a cello. That's not no violin.
As the orchestra's lead violinist. Even Anna's boyfriend would be hers. If Anna died,
Actually, I can't tell if she's standing. It could be a bass.
take
I
her
can't
place.
tell. I think it's a cello. I don't think the neck is long enough.
as the orchestra's lead violinist.
And it looked like
even
she's sitting.
Anna's boyfriend would be hers. Lisa thought everything would go smoothly, never imagining the situation would suddenly reverse.
What? We've seen a lot worse today, so that wasn't too bad.
A group of students had the audacity to openly cheat during an exam. They used hand signals to share the correct answers to the exam questions. Raising their right hand indicated the answer was C, while raising their left hand meant the answer was B. With the help of the top students' hints, they breezed through every question with ease. However,
how do you
just
know
as
if it's
everything
A
seemed
or
to be
D,
going
though?
smoothly, their actions aroused the teacher's suspicion. They quickly changed their cheating method and started using Morse code to relay the answers. But the tapping noise was too loud and was soon stopped by the teacher. Fortunately,
how
they had
else?
a backup plan. This time, they used head movements to signal the answers.
You
Nodding
mean
to the right
you
meant
mean
the answer.
nodding to the right, not to the, but that makes it look like you're looking at other people's papers. So shouldn't y'all get in trouble
was
for
A,
that?
while nodding to the left indicated B. But just when they believed their scheme was foolproof, the teacher abruptly triggered a cheat detection gadget, filling the exam room with a piercing high-frequency sound. The students writhed in pain, covering their ears and halting their cheating. The teacher warned them that if they dared to try any more funny business, they would all be dragged out and shot.
At this point, though, y'all should be like halfway through the test. Y'all should be straight.
Everyone was at their wits' end. The class monitor suddenly turned to the top student, who readily took the hint. So, the next moment, he let out a loud fart. Initially startled by the sudden noise, but they soon noticed that the top student's farts had a distinct rhythm. The student
The farts had a distinct rhythm, bro. That's B. That's C. That's A. That's D. Like, what are we doing here, bro?
caught on, realizing that the number of toots corresponded to the answer options.
Amidst
the top students' resounding flatulence,
bro,
the class resumed their cheerful cheating.
Are you good, bro? I know your stomach hurt, dog. Please relax. I know your stomach hurt.
Filled with an increasingly pungent odor, students were also overwhelmed by the
his
stench foaming at the
hurts.
mouth, and some even went into shock and passed out. The teachers had no choice but to hold their breath and rush to help, but the top student didn't give a shit and just kept ripping ass to signal the answers. At that moment, he accidentally pushed too hard and ended up shitting his pants.
Oh my gosh.
Right then and there, the pungent stench of stinky tofu instantly permeated the entire exam room. Ultimately, with multiple students requiring hospitalization for varying degrees of poisoning, the exam had to be forcibly terminated.
What does his diet consist of for it to be poisonous poops? That's all I want to know.
The man was horrified to find a creepy, strange hand in his toilet bowl. He immediately called his wife over and asked if it was her toy that she had forgotten to put away after use. However, his wife had no idea what he was talking about. Just as she walked over to take a closer look at what the object was, the strange hand in the toilet suddenly moved. The wife instantly collapsed to the ground in shock. Fortunately, she had only fainted from the sudden fright. The man then dialed the emergency number. Moments later, the guard, who was the first to be notified, arrived on the scene. When he saw the man's wife lying on the bathroom floor, he urgently asked the man what had happened. The man explained that his wife had fainted after being frightened by the strange hand in the toilet. When the security guard turned to look, he was also startled for a moment.
It's still there.
But in the next second, he felt that his intelligence had been insulted. He quickly grabbed the plunger and confronted the man, obviously mistaking him for the culprit. Just then, the doorbell rang. The man said it must be the police arriving. Before going to open the door, he warned the security guard not to go near the strange hand. However, as soon as the man left, the curious security guard walked towards the hand. When the man returned,
he did
with
exactly
the
what
police,
he's not supposed to do.
They found the security guard lying on the bathroom.
That police does not look any form of intimidating. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Let me guess, the hand's gone now?
Floor. The police quickly went to check on him and discovered that he wasn't breathing. They immediately restrained the man as a suspect.
See the hand?
At this point, the cops also noticed the strange hand in the toilet. The man told them that the hand was very dangerous and warned them not to go near it. However, the chief wouldn't listen.
Of course he didn't.
Ordered an officer to take the hand out of the toilet. In the next second, the strange hand suddenly grabbed the officer's arm.
This is so silly. It is so unserious. Oh my goodness, bro. A hand in a toilet sticking out and no one's had any type of urgency or serious necessity as I'm going through their body whatsoever.
This is a high-end gentleman.
Okay, come on, talk to me.
Women's club comparable to Lolly Island. The girls inside
Lolly
are all as
Island?
beautiful as beauty pageant queens, and they are the main selling point of this club. They are locked up here to serve as waitresses. However, when faced with the excessive behavior of the wealthy patrons, the girls can only maintain a smile and cooperate throughout the process. But if anyone dares to disobey or be disrespectful to the wealthy guests, the club's boss will activate the mechanism on their necks, instantly sending them to meet God. Despite this, many girls are still eager to work here every day, because as long as they accumulate points to a certain level, they will have the opportunity to enter the mysterious paradise. There, they can gain immortality and have more money than they could spend in several lifetimes.
Okay, so that, first off, all that's probably cap, right? There's no mysterious paradise. They are all just definitely manipulated in there.
However, on this particular night, a girl, consumed by curiosity about the paradise, secretly slipped into the queue bound for this promised land. They were each taken to private rooms, and the girl successfully snuck in. However, just as she thought she was about to reach paradise, a staff member suddenly put a helmet on her. With a click,
I did say manipulated, right?
The steel needles inside the helmet instantly rendered the girl unconscious. Then they hooked the girl's legs with iron hooks and sent her off to the recycling station. It turns out that these girls are not really human, but AI robots. robots. In reality, the so-called paradise actually refers to the place where they are sent to be destroyed when they reach the...
They serve life trying to get to paradise, and then the paradise they're reaching for is just the end of their life. That's crazy. Okay, that's a different type of message. And they were robot suits, so they were just created just to be harassed. Oh, Lord.
A woman's son merely peed on her back, but that very night, a tuft of fine hair surprisingly grew in that spot.
What?
However, she paid no attention
What
to
does
it.
that mean?
Unexpectedly, by the second night, she discovered that the area
She's turning
where
into
the
a
hair had
ghost?
grown was now a pustule, and it was extremely painful to touch.
Oh.
The woman thought she had developed hemorrhoids due to excessive internal heat, so she took out a silver needle, sterilized it with
What?
fire,
Why?
and prepared to
Why?
lance the hemorrhoid
Why?
directly.
Why?
But to her surprise, when she punctured the hemorrhoid, she pulled out a bunch of miscellaneous hair from inside. The woman thought that after
What?
pulling out
Yo,
the hair,
what is
everything was
happening,
fine,
dog?
So she didn't pay any more attention to it. However,
Why did
a
you
few
pay
days
more
later, she
attention
noticed
to
that
it?
many whiskers had grown on her face. And
Go
even her
to the
teeth seemed to have
doctor!
lengthened considerably. Even more bizarrely, 2 rows of neat raisins had appeared on her belly.
2 rows of meat raisins? She's turning into a cow?
At this point, she was still
Poor
unaware
cow.
of the earth-shattering changes her body had undergone.
How
It
is
wasn't
she
until
unaware? She poked into her back and found
one day when she took her son shopping at the supermarket that the true extent of her transformation became
She likes
apparent.
fish?
She realized her sense of smell had become extremely keen. Just by sniffing, she could tell how many kinds of spices had been added to the food.
What is she turning
Even when
into?
eating, she became like a dog. When her son
Oh, she's turning
accidentally
into a
glanced at the meat in her
dog.
bowl, the woman immediately bristled and let out a low growl of food guarding. It was
Oh,
only when she
okay.
noticed the perplexed looks from other customers that the woman suddenly came to her senses and quickly wiped the food from the corners of her mouth with a napkin. That
Oh,
night,
this-
the woman suddenly jolted up from her sleep.
Her son peed on her and it turned her to a dog. That's what happened. Her son peed on her. Boom, dog. I think we need to make TV and movie directors sober. They thinking way too much in the wrong directions.
As if someone was calling her. When she went out to check, she was surprised to find that a large group of stray dogs had come to her doorstep.
She's the alpha
Faced
wolf?
with this situation, not only was the woman unafraid, but she even had a feeling of meeting relatives. However, just as she reached out to pet them, the stray dogs suddenly went berserk and lunged at her. At that moment, the woman's inner beast was instantly awakened, and she started frantically pawing like a dog. As time passed, the woman quickly transformed completely into a husky, eventually becoming the leader of all the stray dogs in the entire city.
No moral of the story. No explanations. Just peed on by son. Boom, you're a dog now. Specifically a husky. That's all I get. The kid can't be normal then if he has special peeing powers.
I just wanted to rub a dog's belly, but
That's
to
not
the
his
killer,
belly.
it meant something completely different. When my wife was cleaning the oven, the scene she created looked disturbing in the killer's eyes.
what is
Then the way
happening?
she squeezed the butter was twisted in his mind.
What are you
leading to
squeezing?
another
What are you
misunderstanding.
squeezing right
The
there?
next day, I went to a reporter's home to investigate a recent bank robbery.
What
The
happened?
moment I
What could have happened
walked
here?
in, I sensed something was wrong.
Oh, no.
Bloodstains on the floor showed that something had happened there.
What'd the
On
killer do,
table,
bruh?
A note instructed me to pick up a bloodstained
So
knife.
why'd you pick
Another
it up?
note
'Cause
told
it
me
said
to
it.
record a message.
Lieutenant Frank Driven.
I did it. Why did you do that? Are you
As soon
stupid?
as I entered the bedroom, I found the reporter lying lifeless on the ground. I realized I had walked straight
What do you
into
mean
a
you
trap.
just now realized? What? As a seasoned detective.
my first instinct was to destroy the evidence.
Okay, so this movie's a parody movie.
But in my panic, I accidentally lifted the body too high. Another note told me to record a message. At that moment, two police officers suddenly arrived with no way to explain the scene. I had no choice but to flee.
My brain hurts. That sounds like a hilarious parody, though. I kind of do want to watch that. Survival instincts of a Karen.
The boy prepared tissues in his dormitory.
Please
He was
don't tell
about
me
to
he's about
watch
to-
an adult
Oh.
film from Japan.
Together?
However, he was interrupted by a
Three
knock
y'all
on the
take
door.
four
Before
y'all?
Jack could explain himself, he was taken
He prepared the tissues and it was for them, so might as well do each other, right? Like just one hand on each other, y'all form a circle. I don't know.
away by the police. Unexpectedly, the girl he liked was also in the same police car. At the police station, the police asked Jack to confess honestly. Jack said he was a young man full of energy. Watching a short video should be understandable, right? The police were shocked upon hearing this. After a thorough investigation, the police cleared both of them of any wrongdoing. It turned out
did they
they had
do?
both misunderstood each other. The girl even
What do you
teased
mean?
Jack,
Wait, what?
saying, "You couldn't
Misunderstood
satisfy
what?
me at 11 p.m. And now
What?
you're starting at 11 a.m. too?"
What
It
is
turned
that?
out
I
that
feel like
earlier
I'm
on campus,
thrown-
the two had accidentally encountered the girl being robbed of her bag. They thought she was
Oh.
being bullied and acted heroically, but ended up accidentally becoming the female scammer's accomplices. In the end, the
Oh,
female
she was a
scammer fled in disgrace.
scammer.
One day it rained, and the two got soaked in the rain. Jack took the girl home to dry her school uniform, but the girl discovered Jack's little secret. After Jack returned home, he immediately tried to take it back. The girl became even more curious. As they struggled over it, the discs scattered all over the floor. The boy was so embarrassed he didn't know where to hide. He hurriedly picked up the discs. The girl secretly hid one with her foot. After picking it up, she began to question the boy. The boy explained that it was a friend's and was stored at his house. But the girl knew everything and didn't believe him.
Sure, buddy. Like, how do we go from getting scamnesticism to girl finds out you're a gooner? No, we went from group gooning to getting scammed to girl finding gooning. That's a great place to call it. That's all I know. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Hope you have a wonderful night. Sleep tight. Please do not let the bed bugs bite. Bye bye.